All right. Let's make sure this is going on. Okay. We're in here. I just want to do a quick roll call with everybody that is watching. I've been looking forward to this interview so much for so many reasons. But I want to get an eye. I see some eyeballs coming in here. If you guys are in the comments, wherever you're watching us, let us know where you are. I'm seeing some hellos here from some of our Facebook users. Let us know where you're located.
Thank you.
I was just telling Dawn that out of all the interviews that we've done so far, we got Vegas here. So Alexis Victoria said, yay, I'm randomly awake at the right time. I feel like that's like life right now, right? We got Marilyn here. We have, and she's here from Saudi Arabia. Alexis is so dope. So dope. South Carolina. Oh, I love it. So I was just telling Dawn before we went live that out of all of the interviews that we've had thus far, this one had the most comments already waiting for us.
That's awesome.
Like, we hadn't gone live. You guys set the reminders on the platforms that you're on, and we're already commenting on it. We have a couple questions that came in from our Instagram that I'm going to be tying into the conversation beforehand. I see Cali here. I see South Carolina. I see, Vegas. I'm just super excited about this conversation. And I also think you're the perfect, gosh, you're so many things, Dawn. You're so many things.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But I think what it is you're this master. You and I get very metaphysical. We can play in that sandbox, and not everybody can play in that sandbox and it not come across sounding like we are crazy. Okay?
No.
So it's like, you'll send me little things on Instagram and be like, I can say this to you, but I can't say this like to the general public. And I'm like, I get it. And so I'm going to get a little bit into the history. We got Cayman Islands here. Listen, like everybody's coming in from all over the place. But I want to introduce Dawn based off of our relationship, because I have known Dawn for, a decade?
Yeah.
Maybe more. I think it was more. It's been like
I started in 2011, so this is 20.
Yeah, but I was working as a writer for Jador. Like, we're talking about like 2007, 8.
Yeah.
Like history here. So Dawn and I met.
And you said, I want to do a travel. You told me about this before you even did it. You told me about this. It was amazing.
And it's so nuts. It's so nuts to see everything come to fruition, because even when I spoke to you about it then, I didn't know what the hell was about to happen. I didn't know.
All of what you've accomplished.
Thank you. So Dawn and I met because I used to be a writer and a photographer for a magazine. It was a startup magazine that had happened years and years and years ago. We're talking 2007, 2008. And I was actually given Dawn as an interviewee subject because I was writing an article on her company, Flat Out Heels. So for the ladies that are out here in our comments, do any of you know the roll-up shoes that you could put on your feet when you leave the club, or when you gotta run through the airport real quick, anything like that? Because this is the woman that originated that whole Flat Out Heels idea, okay? This is who we're talking to right now. This is Dawn Dickson. I have seen you from Flat Out Heels to Popcom to killing it on Start Engine, being the first Black woman in the United States to raise over $1 million doing blockchain.
The first female in the world.
First female in the world. Okay, so we got more stats. We got more stats.
White, Asian, anybody, female.
Okay, cool. So we got some people in the comments that are like, hell yeah, I had some of those Flat Out Heels. I love it. So let's first introduce you to the people. Let's just run through the quick spiel of your bio, and then I'm going to break this into some bits. I'm going to break this into some bits for the people who don't know exactly who you are. Miss Dawn Dickson.
Well, I'm going to make it quick. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I really feel like over the course of 20 years, my career is 20 years. I started my first business in 2001. So I'm in year 20. And it's just like solving problems. And that's what a true entrepreneur is, right? Solving problems that they identify and they can relate to, or that they see others around them experiencing. And my first business in 2001, when I was 21 years old, came from me just wanting to provide an online platform for people to find out where to go party, where to eat, where to get entertained. And at this time in 2001, that didn't exist. Back then, which I'm definitely dating myself, but back then, if you wanted to find out what was going on, you just had to get a flyer in your hand. There was no social media. There was no smartphones. None of this existed. You had to go get a flyer. And I'm like, this should be online. And it just was because I didn't want to have to go out and get flyers. And I will find out about events after they already happened. And so I started this digital platform for that. Are we still connected? Yeah, there we go. And so that led to me becoming an expert in digital media and digital marketing in the very early days of online marketing and media.
Right.
I created an email list of over 10,000 people, getting over 100,000 unique hits a month, from just being a very early into the game. And then, people started wanting me to teach them how I did what I did. So I started a consulting company. And then after doing the consulting for 6 years, a lot of my consulting career dealt with events, nonprofit events, and, getting money for sponsorships and being in the club a lot. I work with a lot of athletes and entertainers and their nonprofits and being out a lot and women walking barefoot. And I saw an opportunity to solve that problem, rescue women when their feet hurt in high heels. And plus my feet hurt, I wanted to be able to change my shoes and still look cute, and definitely wasn't going to walk barefoot. And so the idea to let's sell shoes and vending machines, it was just an idea. And then it grew to now me having a software technology company that builds technology for vending machines. But it all just leads from like solving more problems. And I even have a vegan restaurant, and came from moving back to my hometown of Columbus, Ohio 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. And from living in Miami and Atlanta and LA, I was spoiled with options for good vegan food. And then when I got to Columbus, I'm like, there's no really good vegan food. So I started a vegan restaurant with a few partners. So that's just my life's work. It's like solving problems that I know that I have the experience and the network to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. When we were doing our prep period for this before, I said you are literally the essence of what they teach entrepreneurs to do. They say entrepreneurs, your role is to find a problem and find out how to solve it. And you have done this multiple times over and over again. And we're going to get into this, but I love how you bridged one of your earlier companies with your new company and what you're doing with Popcom. I thought it was smart as hell when I realized that was a part of your thought process that went into it. All right. So we're going to go back through history. We met a long time ago. And then it was a couple years ago at Essence Festival. Valisha at Google. Shouts out to Valisha.
Yes.
Black woman killing it at Google. Yeah. Valisha was at Google, and they had kind of like a Black Women in Excellence luncheon that we were there. Both of us were invited to it. It was the first time that we met face to face after knowing each other for like 10 years.
Online bay.
Right. Online bay, business bay, interviewee bay. And we finally see each other. We give each other a hug. And before the end of that evening, I came up to you and was just like, I love you. And can you please be my mentor? I was like, can you please be my mentor? Like, I need somebody to talk to about different arenas, and just following the paths of each other for so many years. And so what I want to know, so Popcom, we fast forward to today. Popcom is a smart vending machine. That's how myself as an outside consumer would have it. How would you describe what Popcom is to someone who doesn't know about it?
I would describe Popcom as an operating system and a software operating system and user dashboard for vending machines. So the easy way to explain it, I have two easy ways to explain it. Imagine Microsoft. So of course, Microsoft makes laptops, but they make Windows. And Windows is the operating system that powers Microsoft laptops, but Windows also powers a lot of other laptops, Samsung, and all these different laptops you get with Windows on them. That's an operating system that Microsoft started. Now, Microsoft and every true innovative company that deals in software always has their own hardware product to demonstrate the full capabilities of their software. So initially, when I came out with, Flat Out, we had these pretty simple but cute looking vending machines. But I realized that the vending machines did not collect any data, and I needed to understand, my conversion rates, meaning how many people walk by versus how many purchase. I wanted to understand the demographic profile of my users. I wanted to be able to remarket them, get their emails, generate leads. And none of that technology that is available in e-commerce space was available in the vending brick and mortar space. And so I realized that I really need to build a software operating system to make vending machines smart. Now, in doing that, I did invent a vending machine called the Pop Shop. But the only reason I did that was to demonstrate the power of my software. But our key business is software, and we integrate software into other hardware. The other example I use is like a Verizon. You have Verizon and you want a new phone. You can go to Verizon website. You can pick from tons of different hardware that uses Verizon data plan and phone plan. You pick an iPhone. But when you get that iPhone, it only works with Verizon. I'm not talking about if you hack it, but it works with Verizon. And so if your phone breaks, you don't send it to Verizon. You send it to Apple or your insurance company. But Verizon makes sure your phone works. And if an issue with connectivity, Verizon deals with that. So we are very much like a phone company and like Windows, but we do this for hardware. And that's the easiest way to break down like what PopCom is really an operating system for commerce on vending machines and kiosks.
Which is unlike anything. And it's interesting because there is, I feel like, did you go and travel anywhere and that influenced how you built out the machinery and the software? Were you able to kind of experience the vending machine culture in other countries and have that influence? How?
Of course, in China, Japan, I studied it first before I went there. I mean, honestly, I didn't have the money to go. Well, I didn't know I had the money to go because I learned from you that you can really travel with not a ton of money. I learned that from you.
Oh, you know I travel broke.
I learned that from you.
Traveling broke.
I learned that from being in No Madness Tribe. I used to think you had to have so much money to go somewhere. So I studied the industry and I realized like, wow, China and Japan and Korea and even Europe are doing so much in vending. The US is so far behind. So I studied the market and the technology that existed. But even what I do now by using cameras and facial detection and machine learning, they don't even do that. Like this is a very, very innovative patent pending operating system that we've developed over 4 years. It was not easy. It was not fast.
Right. I've seen the grunt work with that. And actually, I want to talk about that, right? Our process, the last time I saw you when we were at Essence, like not the last time I saw you, but when we were at Essence, what part of the process for PopCom were you in at that point in time? What stage were you in?
I mean, testing, beta, we're on our 4th vending machine design right now before we decided to go to market with the current design, which you can see it on popcom.shop. But we put some out, tested them, realized like, okay, they need to be different. So when you met me, I had just finished a 2-year run of testing the flat out of Hills machines. I used my own brand as a test because I didn't want to sell to other people and then something go wrong. And then I'm like liable for other people and they're mad because it doesn't work right. So I really tested everything on me first. And we still do that. I test everything myself first before I give it to a customer.
I love that. And what I think is so dope about the way that you've gone about it is you've gone through the processes, right? So this is what you hear as an entrepreneur. This is what you see of our favorite business people's cover, like, faces plastered all over cover of business magazines. What you hear so much is like, get investor money, get VC money, sell, seed A, seed B, seed D. And you started off in that space. So what was your investor journey like? Because you flipped it up at a certain point. And I think people really need to hear about this story because it's shoved down our throat to try to go for investor money. And that's not how this story ends for you. So what was your process with getting investment into PopCom at first?
I mean, first, it was mainly bootstrap, meaning self-funded and family and friends. So again, I started this business in 2012. People are just hearing about it now. They think it came out of nowhere, but I mean, 2012 was a long time ago, and I honestly never thought it would take that long to do this. But I got money from one angel investor that was a friend, and I just used that money to kind of really study the market, do some testing, and really figure it out. And I don't recommend that you ever go out and get investors without being able to clearly demonstrate how you're going to give their money back. Investments aren't a favor, they aren't a loan, they aren't a gift. They want it back with multiples. And so, I always tell founders, go get sales, go get customers, go get LOIs, show investors that people will or are willing to buy your product. So in my case, I needed money to build these things. So what I did was build a prototype and did some, mock-ups of it, digital, and said, okay, if I build this, will you buy it? And I got 30 people to sign an LOI saying, if you build this, I'll buy it. So that was enough to give investors to say that if I build this, they'll buy it. And also really understanding the market and understanding, how I could grow this business. Investors really want 100x return. I mean, 10x is basic, but they want you to blow up. Venture capital investors want you to exit for billions. That's their business model. So I started out with angel investors who really invest based on they like me, or they like the industry, or they're knowledgeable. I didn't go to VC until I had this all the way figured out for that time. So I went through an accelerator program. I won pitch competitions. I was doing everything that I could so that I could show the value, because what happens is if you take money too early, you got to give up a lot, because that's the more risk. So they'll say, I'll give you, you've seen Shark Tank, most people, which I don't like that show at all, but they'll say, oh, I'll give you $500,000. Give me 50%. It's too expensive. And founders are too quick to give up equity in their baby. Just be patient. People say it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. I believe that, because, I'm in 2012. It's now 2020. I'll be a success in 2 years. That's 10 years.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I'm not giving up my company. I hold a lot of equity in my company, and my team has a lot of equity in my company. And I structure my company where we remain in control and we have full ownership of the business. And the VC model is not set up for you to have control or ownership. It's set up for them to, because they take all the risks. But I took all the risks, and my team took all the risks. So I did raise VC money. I raised about $1 million, like $985,000 in my first round. But total, I raised like $1.2 million from angels and accredited, from VCs and accredited angels. But then I decided that I really wanted to take another route and raise money from the public, because I started to see how wealth is created in this country and just in the world in general. And typically people are wealthy from investments, not from working at a job. Entrepreneurs are wealthy because they bet on themselves and they pay off, or they don't be wealthy, or they just fail. But people make money and create generational wealth through investing. And I realized that our community, which I'm a Black woman, obviously, you see that, and other underrepresented communities that are not, this is anyone that's overlooked or not accredited, meaning you make $200,000 a year or $300,000 as a married couple, or you're worth $1 million, you can't invest in early stage deals. So where you see stuff like, they put this paper out on social media a couple years ago when Uber IPO'd, and they showed how one person invested $5,000 in Uber, but then they ended up getting $25 million from that $5,000. And I'm like, shit, I got $5,000 to put into something.
Right.
But they were never going to ask me because I didn't have the network. That wasn't my homies. They didn't say, call me up, say you got $5,000 for Uber. Nobody called me for that. I had the $5,000. I could have came up with $5,000. Trust me. They didn't call me because I didn't have the network, and I wasn't accredited. I didn't have $1 million net worth. So we don't get in on these deals. And so I said, a core value for me is to create wealth for myself, of course, in my community. And I want to see people that look like me or have my same philosophy, because it's not all Black investors that I have. We're on the same wavelength. I want to see them be able to, when I win, they win. And so I decided to crowdfund, which was open up my company to the public or private equity. And it's very difficult to do, but I did it and endured all of the very hard work to do it, because I believe that, in order to create wealth in our community, we have to invest.
Right.
So that's why I did it.
And you went through Start Engine. So I am a proud multi-time investor in Popcom. I jumped in on the first round that she opened up. When did that first round happen? About a year ago?
It started December 2018. It closed April 2019 at an $8 million valuation at 16 cents a share. Now it's worth $25 million and 55 cents a share. So now your shares you bought for 16 cents are now worth 55 cents.
Hey.
That makes me happy.
But what I love about it too, because No Madness also has a history in crowdfunding, right? You took crowdfunding and mixed it with blockchain. In the early days of No Madness, I'm sure a number of people that are newer members of No Madness and people watching this don't even realize that, you know, in the early days, we did 3 overly successful Kickstarter campaigns for various projects that we brought to fruition over time. With that being said, you lean in on the community, and your community looks like everything. Like, you're about it. Dawn knows her numbers, but Dawn also has friends in the hood. Okay. And I love that you created an opportunity to bring all of those worlds together. And I think the minimum for the first one was what, $250, somewhere around there?
And now it's $250. So.
And $250 now to get in on the round, because she's in the middle of a round right now, her second round on Start Engine. And we're going to talk about that before we get off today, because I think some of you may be interested in actually investing in Popcom and what Dawn has been doing. But with that, I didn't even know about the entity of Start Engine, and that it is a way for you to essentially do like an ICO, integrate blockchain. For those of you who feel like they've heard blockchain but don't know, it comes up a lot in cryptocurrency conversations. So what's your relationship to blockchain, and how did you make the decision to integrate blockchain into how you wanted to open up and essentially bring investing to everybody in your community?
Yeah, so initially we use blockchain in 2 ways, and it's on YouTube. I spoke before Congress last month about blockchain and small businesses and really detailed how we use blockchain. But to make it very brief, we use blockchain for identity management, meaning that when people want to purchase a product through a vending machine that requires you to verify your age or your identity, for example, cannabis or alcohol, we can do this securely on the blockchain without that person having to give up their data. So we use blockchain to store their information, and it's accessed by what's called a private key and a QR code. So you know what a QR code is, you scan it. And so the people will store their information, their driver's license, their credit card or whatever on the app, and then the blockchain secures it, and then you access it through a QR code to confirm a verified identity. So we use it for identity management, which is one of the best use cases of blockchain to keep data secure. So if you don't know what blockchain is, the ledger. It's just a list. It's like having a checkbook, but it's digital. And so it's a list, but you cannot hack it or change it or erase it because so many other computers are involved in verifying the transaction. And so that's why we use it to keep data safe for consumers. The second way we use it was to raise capital in a secure token offering. We initially did this because we were told that there was going to be a ATS exchange, which is a secondary exchange. So imagine NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange, but for privately held companies. And so the SEC was, we were thinking they were going to approve for us to be able to have these tokens and for people to be able to sell them. So many of you who may have done things, traded crypto like on Poloniex, CoinDesk, and all the many platforms that existed in 2017 to trade tokens during that ICO boom, we were waiting for a legal way to be able to do this in the United States. And so I really wanted for my investors to be able to get liquidity, meaning go online and trade their Popcom tokens if they want to get out of their investment, they want their money back. But as of today, the SEC still have not approved a platform because they really don't want us to have that type of control.
Wow. I didn't know that they had still kind of like blocked that. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Good insight.
Start Engine did not get approved. They had to go back into their document and take out the word blockchain in order to get approved to be able to have a platform. So it will come, but not as fast as we thought when we initially did the round. And that's why everybody that invested has tokens. Their tokens are just the same as equity. But right. The difference is you can't go in and trade your token. It's a 12-month holding period, but 12 months is coming up in April. If you want to go get those tokens out, you can't do it right now because they're not allowing us to do it. It's just very, very early in on this type of legislation. But that's why I'm an advocate. And I spoke before Congress. It's online to talk about why we need these things to be pushed through to benefit small businesses and to help investors, because typical investment cycle of a VC is 10 years. You may not want to hold your investment for 10 years. You may be like, okay, I flipped my money 3 times. I went out. You can do that on the stock exchange. You take your money out any day.
Right.
It's coming, but just not right away. But when the time comes, we'll adjust. But for now, we're just selling straight equity.
I love it. You're such a base of knowledge for all of this stuff as well. I remember when you started your podcast bars. And again, it's like the perfect integration of your education and your experience in this space. And you
hip hop
with hip hop. Literally, it's like you would come through. You're like the Jay-Z of business for me. Like it's weird. There's so many things. That's what I say when I'm like, there's so many things. But it's like you would literally take, so the concept was that you took a lyric that was usually business based, and then you would apply it to lessons that you learned in business and school people on your podcast. So talk about the podcast Bars and where can people find it?
Bars is my baby. We only have one season, but in those 7 episodes, I give you all the game that I know. It's on Apple Podcasts, also on Spotify, and it's BARS exclamation. So you have to put the exclamation point to find it, or just under Dawn Dickson. But you know, Bars is my body of work for the world. I really poured everything I had into Bars, and people ask me all the time, like, what do you need to start a business? I mean, I lay everything out there for Bars. But the one reason why I don't like podcasts, because I don't like to hear people talking. Like I can't stay, my attention span won't just listen to people talking. But the music for Bars is banging. So like you hear people talking, but you also hear the music. A lot of people will tell me that they listen to Bars while working out or in the car because it's music. You know, it keeps you engaged. You listen to your favorite song and you're getting information. So eventually Bars season 2 will come. It's just the time it takes to record that. And at the time when I recorded Bars, I was in a very, I was in a place where I could have failed. Like I was out of money, waiting for my crowdfunding campaign to be approved, uncertain times. And I had time on my hands and I said, okay, let me just pour my heart out into this podcast. And people really love it.
Because it's absolutely amazing. And it's such a dope way to integrate the culture and what influences you and your story in that way. So Start Engine as a platform, how did you find it? Why do you like it? Why is this the place that you've kind of like done your coin offerings through?
So the first one was a token offering. And the reason I did Start Engine, because they were the ones that were right there close to get approved for the exchange.
Great.
That's why I picked them in the beginning. It didn't happen because SEC blocked it. The Security Exchange Commission, they blocked it. The second time I did it, because I have a relationship with them, they see me, so they make money off of me. They take 7% of my money. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So I raised $1.7 million, $1,070,000. They took 7% of that. They got a bag.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, we love you. Come back, And so I have a good relationship with them. But there's several other platforms like WeFunder, Seed Invest, Republic. You just pick the one that works the best for you. But it's not, nothing is easy. Nothing is cheap. You have to really have your paperwork in order. It's a lot to be able to sell a security to the public. Essentially, that's what we're doing, is selling a security. So it's like a mini IPO. It's like a private IPO. So it's a lot of work that goes into it. But I like Start Engine because I like their team. And that's relationships means a lot to me. So
yeah, absolutely. When looking at the first round that you took, from the time that you came across Start Engine to the time that you were able to go live with the first round and start taking in funds, what was that time frame looking like? Too long.
Girl, God. It was like 6 months.
Yeah. Okay.
And even I did it again. This time I started working on my next round. I started working on the round that hasn't even launched yet. I started working on that in July of last year. It's still not launched yet.
Got it.
The round that I have now is a bridge round. It's only for $767,000 because that's the legal limit I can raise, because I already raised the million. You need to do it. You only can raise $1,070,000 in a 12-month calendar year. So I want to be able to raise more money because I oversubscribed the last one. But it's a lot of work. I figured it out. I got it down to a science for the Rec CF, because this Rec CF I have now took me like 2 weeks. Now I have my stuff together. But that first round was brutal.
Yeah.
It was like, man, we could have failed. Like I literally maxed out all my credit cards. I'll tell the story all the time. December 2018, I could not afford an Uber ride that was $6. My credit was like a 760. And so I leveraged my credit to get credit cards to keep my business funded while we were waiting, but I maxed them all out. And so by December, I had been funding my business myself since like September. I'm talking about payroll operations. So I funded it out of my pocket, out of my credit card, thinking that Start Engine would open up any day now, but it did not. So by December, I was all the way out of money. And it's crazy because I was in Uber, the Uber app, and you can call an Uber and it's like you pick the payment method you want to use.
Yep.
I was running all the payment methods. Every card I had was declining for $6. I even tried a little trick like running through PayPal and maybe they would give me a little float. That shit did not work. I had to call my friend and be like, "Hey, can you call me an Uber? I got a really important meeting. Can you call me an Uber to get to this meeting?"
Yeah.
And the crazy thing, and I look back, is like I did not feel ashamed or embarrassed because I knew that once I was able to do my thing, I was going to do my thing. And it's like a lot of times you have to be willing to give up everything. Maybe you don't have to sacrifice it all, but if you do, you have to be willing to go, have skin in the game. But it's crazy because December I couldn't afford an Uber. By April, I had raised $1.7 million and all my debt was paid off in 3 months. But it was like a time where I was like, shit, I'm about to just be still,
That's all you can do. Just be still.
Like I was quarantined when nobody else was quarantined. I was quarantined. I couldn't do nothing. I was like, my friends fed me. My friends got me Ubers. Like I was definitely relying on a lot of people to make sure that I was eating every day and getting around.
Yeah. That is so real. And I think that something that you touched on that was so just real right now is the idea that you said that you weren't ashamed and you weren't embarrassed during that time. Most of us are, if we're approaching, nowhere even near that, right? This goes back to the abundant mindset. Mm-hmm. This goes back to why you're on this call versus somebody else. We all know investors. We all know people that are on the inside of this thing. But something about the abundant mindset, you are unrelenting as a human being when it comes to your energy, who you allow in your space, who you confide what into. How did you get that way? What is there? Is there a story? Is there, a series of events? Like, how did Dawn get to the point where she was so unrelenting, not only with your vision, but with who and what energy you let stay around you?
Couple things. So again, I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person, but I grew up as a Christian, and my favorite book was the book of Job. And it's because, Job lost everything. He was a wealthy man. He had the wives, the kids, the goats, everything, and he lost it all. And he still praised God when he lost it all. And so the lesson was like having faith. Faith is believing in something when you can't see it. It's like believing in something that you don't even have. You don't know how, where, why. When you just blindly believe in it, and it works out. And even though, people can say whatever they want about Bible or religion now, because I'm not religious. These are great stories. These are great things to rely on and to pull from. And so from just not only like having that faith where I'm like, I'm going to just believe because I know for a fact there's something bigger than me. I know for a fact you can't look at a blade of grass or the sun shining or the moon and not know like you are this small in this universe. So I believed in it. But then also, I'm 41 now. I've been an entrepreneur 20 years. And there's been times where I felt like what I was going through was so bad. It was like, and this is when I was younger. I'm like, this is bad. But then it always worked out. And what seems so bad is a memory now. Mm-hmm. And I got through it. And everything we feel like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. You got past it and you're alive. And so I knew that it's only temporary.
Right.
I knew that after seeing having the mindset of abundance and practicing that in my life and never letting myself be discouraged, I'm a big fan of Esther and Jerry Hicks.
Yes, me too.
I'm in the vortex. I live in the vortex.
Abraham Hicks.
Yeah. So I actually seen Esther. It was very powerful. I seen Esther last year in San Diego. And they always talk about when something bad happens, at that moment, think of one good thought. So it's like, when I couldn't afford an Uber, I had nothing to eat. You know, I mean, I didn't have money to eat. The good thought was, I have a friend that can call me an Uber.
Mm-hmm.
I have my family that'll give me something to eat. Or some days, shit will feel really bad. I mean, everything around me was just falling apart. Get evicted, get my car repossessed. And I say, well, the one good thing is I'm alive. I ain't dead.
Right.
So I am here. Some people are not here today, and they wish they could just be breathing. And so that is, I always think of the best possible thought, and that gives you hope and pull from that best possible thought. And that's what I do all the time. I mean, and bad things happen all the time. Like, well, what some people will perceive as to be bad, but the worst thing that ever happened to me wasn't that bad because I lived through it. You know,
right.
That's how I see everything in my life. It's just a mindset of abundance. I listen to a lot of guided meditations, a lot of frequency music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm always just
sound baths as well.
I don't, because I don't want to get too deep on this left side, but I practice something called Onyx, and just with my frequency, I am just I'm levels above that. It could disrupt my vibration, but I believe in them and they're good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm at a different place spiritually,
right?
Because once you get to a place where what you can manifest, it seems like magic, like you're a wizard. I mean, you can like wave the magic wand in your head and things happen.
Right.
And I have seen that demonstrated to me over and over again, where literally every single thing I've ever wanted in my life has happened, good or bad. Because whatever you give your attention to, whatever thought you give your attention to, it will happen. So when I think about something, I always think about the best thought, because, you know, if you think about what you don't want, you're going to bring it to your life. Think about what you do want, you're going to bring it to your life. So always just think about what you do want, because the universe doesn't
decipher the energy.
So yeah. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be broke. Universe is like,
all I hear is broke. Got you.
But I'm like, wealthy, abundance. The universe has no choice but to respond to what I am telling it. And the last thing I'm going to say is years ago, I listened to something by Kevin Trudeau. Mm-hmm. He's in jail now for telling the truth to people. But Kevin Trudeau has something called your wish is your command. Mm-hmm. Like, you are a genie. So you just literally, whatever you wish is your command. And whatever you focus on, it does manifest in your life. And that's something that I just carry with me in all areas of my life.
It's interesting. We have somebody, Janelle, I just popped her comment up. She just got into Onyx. So you're not the only person on the conversation.
I'm a Onyx practitioner. So I'm a level 2 certified Onyx practitioner.
Yep.
And I'm, studying to be level 3 and level 4, but I don't talk about it a lot because it is very non-traditional.
It's touchy for some people. Like I said, that's when we get into our metaphysical.
But it's something that the power and the energy of the universe, and we're gods. We are gods walking. Yeah.
I love it. I want to know how you take that mindset, and when you're dealing with business, right? How do you apply the abundant mindset not only to business but to competition? That's a big one. Not falling into the scarcity pitfall. There's
enough of everything for all of us. I mean, the universe is truly abundant. I don't even think about competition at all. It's not something that I even concern myself with. I'll look and see what people are doing, and I'm happy for them. But I know what I'm doing. And so in business, my team, I do this. Like, we were on our call last Tuesday, a weekly, now it's this video call. And I told them, I'm like, you guys, I was meditating for an hour, and I went and got the antibody for you guys from my higher self in the Stargate. And I brought the Corona antibody to you all, and you all are covered. Like,
they just gotta get it. They just gotta
like Dawn is out there. I talk to them like that. When we're in the office, we have sales meetings, and in the background of the meetings, when we have customers in the office, I have the money manifestation frequency playing very low in the office. I'm like, we about to close this deal. Yeah. They don't even know they gonna get these vibrations. They don't even know what they're getting, but it's in the background in the office, and my team is just so used to it now. My witchy ways. Some people be scared of it, but they love it.
But I love it. And I love that you don't allow it to fear in, you use it as an asset, right? Somebody asked, is there a Marconics book that you recommend? We have people that are legit into this.
There's 2 books. So there's The Clarion Call. There's 2 books that are written by Lisa and oh my God, Allison. So the first one is The Clarion Call, and the next one is Angels. Let's see, Marconics second book. Let me Google it real quick. I'm having a memory lapse.
No problem. I'm going to look into this too.
And Angels of Atlantis. So Clarion Call and Angels of Atlantis. Now you read the first book. If it feels way out there, it ain't for you. It ain't for everybody. It's out there.
Right.
You know, Dolores Cannon. I love Dolores Cannon. Keepers of the Garden. Another out there. You know.
Yeah.
But I believe in it. And I think it's just, regardless of what you believe in, it's so important to believe in something.
Yes. Especially in these times.
Whatever you believe in, it's fine. You know, I never go back and forth with people about what I believe is better than you or you're wrong, I'm right. It's all one. It's all one. It all boils down to the same thing. Just be a good person. Live your life right. Whatever you want to believe in, just believe in something.
Right. Believe in something and act accordingly. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I want to open up our questions to the people that are watching. I still have some but I want to make sure that if you have any specific questions, I'm bringing in the ones that people are sending our way. Are you doing any like personal investing right now, given the state of everything?
I do. I'm an investor. I love it. You know, a lot of my money last year that I had, because, you know, keep in mind, couldn't afford an Uber.
Right.
And I hadn't got paid in like 4 or 5 months. And then I got paid all this money at one lump sum.
Right.
So I wanted to be a good steward of that money. And so I invested in several things last year. I invested in 2 startups last year. I invested in my restaurant. Mm-hmm. I invested in a cannabis grow. I invested in a supplement company. And then I invest regularly just, you know, on Robinhood and Stash App. And then I also invest, have a mutual fund. I invest in life insurance policies. I have an IRA. You know, my estate planning is on point. I have a trust. So, yes. You know, my life is in order, but it wasn't always like that. But, you know, I made it a point to, like, when I get some money, I'm not going to go just ball out. I'm going to be responsible, because we know that I've had low resources before. I know what it feels like. So right. I have to create a nest egg for myself. I have a daughter, you know, she's about to be 16 next week, and I have to make sure there's a nest egg for her. And so I just, investing is a way to create wealth. And then, you know, I save a third of my income, and I don't got a huge income. I'm a startup founder, but I save a third automatically every month. First of the month when I get paid, a third of it goes away out of my account. So it's still there now. Like, I'm not touching it. And you got to pay yourself first. I learned that when I was a kid, and my mentor told me to pay yourself first. So yeah. Somebody asked about, is it similar to Reiki? Mm-hmm. It's a next level. It's above Reiki. Like, I cannot do Reiki anymore, because I used to do Reiki. I like it, but it's called a recalibration. I'm just gonna say, if you're interested in what I'm talking about, Google Marconics and quantum recalibration. But when I got recalibration a year ago, it was actually last Easter. It's completely changed my life. Completely changed my life. Like, I'm not gonna go deep into it, but I definitely know how to harness my powers in a way that is amazing. Like, literally, I could take my fingers and just make stuff happen. Kind of crazy.
Harry Potter style. Got you. Hood Harry Potter style.
Exactly. The beautiful thing is, we all have this power. It's not me. It's all of us. That's how we're made. You just have to learn how to tap into it, because so many things in our lives and our culture are set up to make us believe that we don't have that power. The power is in the church, or the power is in the government. The power is really in you. And, you know, it's you can do anything. And I believe that strongly. And that's probably why I do anything that I do.
Right. Janelle asked, do you have a mentorship program? Yeah, me, one of them. Do you have a mentorship program?
I mean, not directly. I blog a lot. I don't blog about spirituality. I used to have a blog. I mean, it's still up. It's on Tumblr. It's called In Search of Dawn Dickson, and it has a lot of information on it, but I haven't written it in years. And I write about business on my business blog a lot, but it's not something I widely talk about right now. It's something that when I exit my businesses, I will pivot over. That's why I opened the vegan restaurant, and I'm starting to move towards my next career. You know, after my tech career, which just when I sell this company, I'm retiring from tech. And then I'll have my spiritual career, and I want to be an iridologist, and I want to study herbs, and I want to, be a practitioner of Marconics and really spread that. But I don't talk about it a lot. Mentorship, I mean, I try to virtually mentor. Like this conversation right now, I'm giving everything I have because I want to give it to the world, but I don't have time to do it one-on-one because I do have 3 companies, and a family that I have to take care of. So not right now, but eventually, yes.
This is a good question. Erica Smith is asking, have you ever thought about creating your own incubator?
No, because I don't want to do that kind of work. It's work. I don't like to work. I don't like to work. I build teams and they work.
Right. That is the realest shit ever.
I don't like to work. I like to chill. I'm telling you. But now, I spent years working, but I had a plan. I always said in my mind, early at 20 years old, I'm going to get married around 40. I'm going to retire around 45. And I said it so much that like my life just unfolded that way. And I do believe I will retire by 45. But, I don't want to do that. I'll happily speak. I'll happily contribute. But do I want to run another business? I don't want to be CEO ever again after this.
I think it's interesting that you said after this, it's funny, right? Because I'm going to toss a little small something. I'm not going to give anything away because I don't even know if she's on the same trajectory anymore as she was before. But you're the second person I know, both of which are mentors, that said that they know that like after they finish this, like what your cap was on it. The other mentor that I have that has that same theology is Issa. I had a conversation with Issa years ago about how many seasons she thought of Insecure there was going to be. And I'm not throwing any numbers out there, but we had an honest conversation about that. And it was just because she knew the plan going forward to the point of even the ending point. And I think sometimes in business, we'll just keep going and keep going. And if it's not becoming like a legacy business for us, we don't think about what the ending or what the exit looks like. And that's important too.
I say start with the end in mind because you have something to work towards, but not with a timeline. Like, she may have said X number of seasons, but she didn't say X number of years.
Yeah.
Start with the end goal and just trust the process.
Right.
Do you think I thought it was going to be 8 years before I had a vending machine in the market? Absolutely not.
Right.
I know what the end goal is. I know what the dollar amount is. And I know, where I want to take this. And everything is lining up to do that. I mean, amazing things happen in my life. People like, oh, COVID, how you going to survive? We are booming right now in my business.
Dawn, you have got, but this is the thing from the outside, right? How many, in 8 days, you guys crowdfunded this round over 200K. Where are you at right now?
I'm going to switch refresh. We're at 247,000, almost 248,000 in 2 weeks exactly. To give you a perspective, my last crowdfunding campaign, it took me 2 months to raise 250,000. It took me 2 weeks to raise 250,000 this time. The balls on you, girl. Last time. So doing a campaign, even just the audacity, but this is the abundant mindset, right? The audacity of even like starting and launching a second round during a pandemic, Dawn. We're in a pandemic, boo. I don't know if you got the memo. But even just the balls of that, like, so we're going to make it out of this, and then what?
Right,
I'm
exactly.
Not dying. So what's after this? We're going to move on. We're going to go on past this. And, this is the time when the market's low, when things are crashing, when this is the time to start thinking about your future.
Right.
And people who know that are doing that in whatever way, in whatever it looks like for them. It may not be invested in me. It may be invested in themselves, taking a class. Like, whatever you want for your future, you are in the house. Take those steps. You have extra money. You're not going out to eat. You're not going to the club. You're not going shopping unless, maybe some stuff online. You're saving money by not being out and about, paying for parking, paying for gas. All these things you spend your money on, you have disposable income. Do something with that money. You would be doing something with it was already going to be gone anyway.
Right.
Do something with it.
So for the people who are interested in investing in Popcom, they've heard you, they're listening, they know about you and have a background, and now you've sold them here on this conversation. What are the steps that they can take to invest in Popcom this go round? Because you either hit a certain amount of money or there's a cutoff date. So what are the parameters here this go round?
Yeah, so this round is 767,000 about. We're at 200 and almost 47,000. When we reach 700,000 or 30 days, we have 15 days left. So either we reach 700,000 or 30 days. And so you can just go to startengine.com/popcom and you can invest. The minimum is $250. It's $250 that you would have spent on gas and lunch at work in a month, you know? So that's how a lot of people approach it. It's like, what do I have to lose? Because as you know, there's no guarantees in investing. So I never can give a guarantee, but I can only demonstrate what we do. You invested at 16 cents. It's now worth 55 cents a share. You have tripled your money.
Right.
I am not here to lose.
Right. And that's it at the end of the day. That's how you operate in general.
I win.
Yeah.
I literally have never failed in business. And I'm not saying this to be arrogant. I say it because failure is just quitting. And I don't quit.
Right.
If you consider failure not to be able to afford an Uber, I don't consider that failure. I just consider that tenacity.
Yeah.
I ain't failed. I just had patience and had tenacity, and I bounced back. You know, I'm the bounce back queen. That's facts.
That's what you do. And the quantum leaper.
Absolutely. Listen, I did a meditation where it's like, if you don't like the timeline you're on, put yourself on another timeline. Literally go on meditation and place yourself on another timeline.
Yeah.
Hop over to the life where things are different.
Yeah.
Parallel universes. Hop over and live the life you want to live. It's really that easy. I promise you.
Yeah. I love it, Dawn. Thank you so much for being with us. All the best on this round and the future endeavors. Again, if anybody wants to invest, startengine.com/popcom. Check it out. You can also find her. You guys can see on the banner here. We do have this. Everybody always asks us, do you have this on demand to play back? Absolutely. This is live right now on a number of platforms, like 4 different pages right now, but it will stay there. It will live there. And we're also cutting these up now and turning them into an IGTV series, which will also be on IGTV. I'll have this one up within the next, I would say, like 7 to 10 days. We definitely want yours up before you finish this round. But we're just super, everybody's just saying, thank you. Can you put the link up for the investment? Yes, Start Engine.
Yeah.
Yep, it's right here. And again, this lives here. Check the comments, also putting it in the comments so that you all can see it. Dawn, it's been an absolute pleasure. You know I love and adore you. Super proud of everything.
It's my favorite. I love it.
I know. And just congratulations on absolutely everything, just professionally and personally. You're the bomb. The bomb, Doc. Yes. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in.